Let's be real. Building custom digital financial services, things like wallets, payment systems, or loyalty programs, it's a massive headache. Businesses have to juggle all these different systems, manage super complex rules, and make sure every single transaction is locked down and secure. And that's exactly why rolling out new features can feel like it takes forever and costs a fortune. Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a platform that's built to fix that exact problem.
You've seen this happen, right? One day your go-to app has a pretty basic payment option, and then bam, the next thing you know, it's got instant cash back, you can send money to friends, or it's connected to some partner's loyalty program. So how in the world do they do that? How do they launch these complicated features so fast without having to rebuild the whole thing from the ground up every single time?
Well, the secret sauce isn't some rigid, one-size-fits-all product. It's actually a super flexible digital engagement platform that works more like a developer's toolkit. So instead of being stuck in a box, it's a set of powerful, ready-to-go components that you can piece together in, well, countless ways to create totally unique financial services. This lets businesses build, test, and adapt at a speed that was pretty much unimaginable before. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to kick things off with the core architecture. Then we'll dive right into the heart of the system, the transaction engine. From there, we'll actually walk through building a simple service together, see how you can level that up to create more advanced stuff, and finally, we'll see how it all comes together for the person actually using the app. All right, let's jump in. Okay, so let's start with the 10,000-foot view. The whole platform is really split into two main parts. And a really easy way to think about them is as the brains of the operation and its friendly, public-facing, face. The backend is the absolute powerhouse. This is the engine room where all the heavy lifting happens. We're talking security, talking to databases, all the business rules. This is where the real work gets done. And then you've got the front end. That's everything you, the customer, actually see and touch. The buttons, the screens, the whole experience. It's that clean, easy-to-use interface sitting right on top of that powerful engine. Okay, now let's get into that engine room because this is where the magic really happens. The most powerful piece of this entire toolkit is the transaction engine. This is what hands developers the actual building blocks they need to construct pretty much any kind of digital transaction they can dream up. And the most important idea to get your head around here is the service. A service is just, it's any transaction a company wants to offer. A wallet transfer is a service. A bill payment is another service. Each one is its own self-contained recipe for one specific financial action. And here's the coolest part. All of these different services are built using just 3 basic types of actions. Seriously. Think of them like Lego blocks. First, you have GL posting. That's your money-moving block. It's what debits one account and credits another. Then you have internal ingression, which is the block for looking up info inside the company's own systems. And finally, directional integration. That's your block for calling out to a totally separate system, like a partner's API. Mix and match these 3 blocks, and you can build just about anything. Okay, theory is great, but let's make this real. We're actually going to build a simple transfer-to-wallet service right now. Think of it like we're following a recipe, putting our building blocks together in just the right order to bake our perfect transaction cake. So first, you create the service itself. You give it a name, like wallet transfer. Easy enough. Next, you design the transaction blueprint. What info do you need from the user? Then, and this is the big one, you define the money step. That's our GL posting action, where you say, okay, debit this account, credit that account. And finally, you just layer on the business logic, things like fees or sending out an automatic SMS when the transfer is done. And let's just zoom in on that second step for a sec, designing the transaction. This is so important because it's where you make the service completely foolproof. Under input building, you spell out exactly what you need, like the recipient's phone number and the amount. Then, under transaction validation, you set the rules. Is that a real phone number format? Is the amount within the allowed limits? This basically guarantees that bad information can't even get into the engine. All right, a simple wallet transfer is great. It's a fantastic start. But the real power of a toolkit like this is building those more complex, high-value services. This is how a business really gets an edge. So how do we do it? You guessed it, we just add more of our building blocks to the recipe. And this slide just shows it perfectly. On the left, you've got our basic wallet transfer. It validates the users, it moves the money, simple, clean. Now look at the right, a more advanced subscriber pays merchant service. It starts the exact same way, but look, we've snapped on 2 new actions. We added a discount logic step to figure out and apply a special offer, and then we added an external call. That's our directional integration block, to go check the user's loyalty points from a completely separate system.
See? It's the same foundation, just with more powerful blocks attached.
And this flexibility is really the whole point. It doesn't matter if a business wants to calculate a simple discount, run some super complex custom math, or call out to a partner's API to figure out a special deal. To the platform, it's all the same. Each piece of that logic is just another action that you add to the service's workflow. It's that simple.
So we've set up all this amazing business logic in the backend. But how does that actually work for a customer who's just tapping away on their phone? Well, it all comes down to a really simple and secure 3-step conversation happening between the app and that backend engine.
It's like a secure handshake. First, the app sends a request transaction call. It's basically asking the backend, hey, this person wants to send $10 to this number. What's the final cost with fees? The backend crunches the numbers and sends back a summary. The user sees that on their screen and hits confirm. That sends the confirm transaction call. And finally, the user types in their PIN, and the app sends the verify transaction call. It's only after that third and final step that the engine actually executes the money movement. It's a brilliant flow that protects every single transaction. So really, the crucial takeaway is this. All of that incredible complexity we just talked about, all the different action types, the validation rules, the fee math, it's all completely invisible to the end user. The platform's entire job is to take all those complicated business needs and translate them into a fast, secure, and ridiculously simple experience for the customer. It's an engine for turning business logic into live transactions, and it lets companies innovate faster than ever. An approach like this toolkit model, it just opens up a whole universe of possibilities. You can go from simple payments all the way to these deeply connected loyalty programs with multiple partners. It really gets you thinking, doesn't it? If you had these building blocks right at your fingertips, what would be the very first custom service you'd build?